Hi, this is Charlie Goodman. Thanks for joining this session of the Ingram Micro Technology Enablement Series. Again, my name is Charlie Goodman. I am with the IBM Power Systems team, and I am the sales leader for hybrid cloud for the Americas. And I'm going to spend a few minutes today talking about Power Virtual Server and how you can help your customers with that, how you can help expand your business opportunities with that, and how you can make some money doing this. So let's take a few minutes to go through this. Before we start though, if you look down in the bottom left, you'll see our seismic link there. That's a link to all sorts of great information on Power Virtual Server, everything from just general overview presentations, customer presentations, education, sizing guides, configuration guides, and other collateral that you can, references that you can use with your customer. So that link is available for you. The other thing I'm going to do is to kind of frame up where our Power Virtual Server, what that offering is. I'm going to spend a minute talking about where the key investments we're making in power technology, and then how our customers will consume power. So we'll spend a minute going through that at first, and then I'll get into the specifics on Power VS. So this is the agenda we will follow. We'll go through and do a little bit of an overview at first. As I mentioned, we'll talk about Power VS, and we'll talk about a partner promotion. We'll talk about our Falcon Store backup in the cloud offering, which is a great way for you to earn that promotion. We'll talk about some customer POCs and promotions that are available to them. We'll talk about Sandbox and how, if you need to get access to Power Virtual Server to use this technology, to explore this technologies, to prepare you to talk to a customer, we'll talk to you about that. And then we'll talk a little bit about the enablement and education that's available around Power Virtual Server and how we can get you and your tech teams more familiar with Power Virtual Server and able to maybe bring more value to your customers. So let's jump into the kind of the high level overview at first here. So IBM is making really investments in power technology around three key areas: cloud innovation, application modernization, resiliency, security, and scalability. And cloud innovation, Power Virtual Server is our power in the cloud offering. That is providing power systems in the IBM cloud. And we have that technology we're investing in and building out infrastructure to allow your customers to run their application up in our Power Virtual Server cloud offering. But we're also investing in on-prem cloud technologies that allow your customer to have a more cloud-like infrastructure on-prem, and even including a OpEx pricing model that allows your customer to have a base level of pricing and then pay on a consumption base on-prem. The application modernization is really centered around making cloud native applications available and work on Power VS. And we've, as you know, IBM bought Red Hat, and we have been taken and integrated that technology into Power Systems with the ability to run Linux and Red Hat OpenShift on Power. And you're able to run containerized applications on Power. So it allows you to take cloud native applications and move those to Power Systems and run them on-prem or in our Power Virtual Server and Power in the cloud, either place. And the advantage of doing that is if you have, say, a front end that your customer's written with containerized technology using cloud technology, you can run that on exactly the same server that their database is running on, and that has a tremendous impact on performance. And then on the far right, you'll see resiliency, security, and scalability. And we continue, that's the hallmark for Power Systems, but we continue to invest in that and improve that. With our Power 10 offering, we now have quantum safe cryptography that we're integrating in to protect your customers against bad actors using quantum computers to break encryption. So we're embedding that into Power Systems. If you're not familiar with that topic, you should look into that in more detail. We're also investing in new memory technology that has much more resiliency than the current memory technology. So Power 10 has memory that is over twice as reliable as previous generations of technology. And this is important as our customers run large memory environments such as SAP HANA, and memory failures can take that whole system down, and it could take, in some of the big HANA instances, hours to recover that memory footprint. So this highly available memory is very important. And then across the bottom of the chart, you can see the power technologies. We continue to take it and come out with new technologies. We have Power 10, this is 7 nanometer technology. IBM is working on 4 nanometer technology. We have our Power Next that's on the drawing board that'll be kind of mid this decade. And then we have technology on the board all the way out into the mid of the next decade. So both for power systems as well as AIX. So we have a long roadmap of technology improvements in the power system environment. As we look at the way our customers can consume power systems, there's really 3 columns on this chart. If you look on the left-hand side, that's our on-prem power systems, and that is consuming it just like we have for decades by having customers install, buy the entire system and install that system on their premises and run that. On the far right, you'll see our Power Virtual Server, and that's really running our power technology in the IBM cloud, in the public cloud. And that's really offering VM or really LPAR as a service for customers where they can take it and put workloads up there and run. And then in the middle, we have Power Private Cloud with dynamic capacity, also known as Power Enterprise Pools or even PEP 2.0. And this is a way for customers to have a cloud-like pricing model with on-prem systems, allowing them to buy a base capacity and then pay for the usage of that system capacities over that base. And we meter by the minute, and the customer gets a monthly bill of what they've used above their base level capacity. This is really valuable if customers are running things like very spiky workloads that maybe during a month spike up to a high level. They don't need to buy the whole machine. They only need to pay for a lower level of usage on the machine. And then when their maybe monthly spike occurs, they pay for just that spike. So we have people that actually have seasonal spikes like that, where most of the year their usage is pretty low, but around the holiday seasons, their usage spikes up dramatically, and so they can buy the machines and pay a lot less for them, and then pay for those spikes on a metered basis. So 3 different ways to consume power systems. Today we're going to talk about the Power Virtual Server, which is the far right column. Okay, let's take a second and look at what Power Virtual Server is. And what I'd like to draw your attention to is the graphic on the right. You'll see 2 gray boxes. One is the Power IaaS, that's Power Infrastructure as a Service, and that really is LPAR as a service. And it really provides the infrastructure for customers to take it and move their applications and run them in the cloud. If you look to the right of that, you'll see other IBM cloud resources, and that really is our x86 VMware, what we call Cloud Classic, your traditional x86 in the cloud. And you can see the big pipe connecting them below. We provide a high-speed link between these 2 environments. So these, the Power Virtual Server and our Cloud Classic environments are co-located in that they're typically either across the hall from each other or different floors of a building, and we put a high-speed link between those 2 environments. The latency between those environments is typically a 1 millisecond, so this provides a great opportunity if your customer has power applications that also have x86 type workloads that is tightly coupled to them. You can move those to the cloud and have this very, very fast pipe between them. And the good news is that pipe is completely free. That is provided free with a Power Virtual Server when your customer is using them. As a matter of fact, the connections between the IBM data centers is even free. So if your customer has a Power Virtual Server in one of our data centers and then has another, as a DR in another IBM data center, that connection, that data movement is free. And that's very unusual with public cloud vendors. If you look on top of these, you'll see platform services, managed services, and then the application logic on top of this. And we have partners, or you're completely welcome to take it and provide additional services on top of our Power Virtual Server. And we have offerings that I'll talk later about our backup in the cloud, which is a platform service. And then we have partners that provide managed services with their customers running in Power VS. The operating system and down is the virtualization, storage, and networking is taken care of by IBM. And the customer then would be responsible, or the person doing managed service would be responsible for managing the operating system PTFs and up on the platform. As you can see over on the left, it is a full stack. This is completely the same technology as you have on-prem. There is no additional technology in there, no additional layers in there. It is exactly what customers are used to running on-prem. When we build Power Virtual Server, it is the best Power Cloud in the business. We build this to be mission critical to support our customers' mission critical applications. And there's redundancy all through the environment, all the way out to storage, all the way through networking, is all provided to the customer. And so it really is built, it really is built to provide mission critical type application support for customers. It is supported by Oracle and certified by SAP for their applications and Oracle's database. And as a matter of fact, it is the only Power Cloud that is certified by SAP. And then we have multiple options for cost-effective consumption. I talked about the two environments over on the right, the Power environment and the IBM Cloud environment. You're able to get a single contract that would span both those environments, and you can use either environment to consume that contract. So you're not pigeonholed into spending a certain amount of dollars on Power VS or a certain amount of dollars on the Cloud Classic. You can buy a contract across both. And we actually have 16 data centers around the world. So we're the largest Power Cloud in the world. And we have data centers in every single geography, including 5 data centers in the US, several data centers in Canada, down in Latin America, Europe, and over in Asia Pacific. So as I mentioned, we have 16 data centers around the world. We have over 500 customers, and actually that number is probably closer to 550 now. Customers that are deployed across Power VS. We'll take a look at some of the customers in just a minute. As I mentioned, it is certified for SAP for both NetWeaver and HANA, and it's the only Power environment in the public cloud that is so. We have Oracle support, and we have Oracle support for things like shared processor pools. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We also have Epic support, OpenShift, Cloud Paks, and we support all the operating systems, AIX, IBM I, and Linux. Over on the right, you can see the compliance with GDPR, SOC 1, 2, and PCI, ISO certified. Down below, as I mentioned earlier, we have exactly the same architecture that on-prem Power systems have. We offer both scale out technology with 922 servers and 1022 servers coming in third quarter, as well as 980 and 1080s that are available with the enterprise scale up. Again, the architecture is built to be mission critical support and provide that high resiliency your customers need to run their business critical applications. And the last statement is we plan on third quarter having to start deploying the Power 10 technologies. We're going to deploy the Power 1022 servers as well as the 1080 servers across our data centers. And certainly if you have a customer opportunity that requires this, we're happy to talk with you about that now and can provide pricing for that. Here are some of the customers that we have up on Power BS, and this is a huge list of customers. As I mentioned, there are over 500 customers that have moved their workloads to Power BS. We have everything from customers that are running their core mission critical applications, very large and complex environments, all the way down to small customers that only moved a part of their workload up. And so we have customers that have deployed hundreds to thousands of cores across a Power Virtual Server environment. We also have customers that have deployed only a couple cores up on Power VS and are running either a backup or a test dev environment, or even a little bit of a DR environment. So we're able to handle all those environments. And you can see from the list of customers, we have them not only in the United States and North America, but of course around the world, so Latin America, as well as across Europe and Asia. There are lots of business drivers and use cases for Power Virtual Server and Power in the Cloud. And so when you talk to your customers, these could be some good discussion points to talk to your customers about. On the far left, the business continuity planning, we have a lot of customers that look and say, I want to put backup in the cloud, or I want to put DR in the cloud. And they may have not had any DR in the past, or have a DR system that they want to shut down, a DR center, data center they're using, and they want to shut that down and move it to the public cloud. And we're able to do that within Power Virtual Server. Often we have customers that come in and that create a DR environment, and then they shrink it down. They kind of deflate that environment, if you will. They send their daily backups up there, but keep the DR environment deflated down. And then the event of a DR event, they would reinflate those virtual machines, those LPARs, and then restore everything and be off and running. We have other customers that have it as an active site. And so we can do it in multiple different ways to address your customers' recovery time options, as well as their price point they're trying to meet. The next box over, the data center strategy optimization, we have a lot of customers that need to take it and either close down data centers that they want to move out to reduce cost, or they have the need to create a data center in Europe to support GDPR requirements. And we're able to do that with our Power Virtual Server. We have environments all around the world that we can spin up very quickly. We can move system images from data centers in the US to anywhere in the world to help customers rapidly deploy workload around the world. And we're also very cost effective. So if customers have data centers that they are trying to move out of and reduce cost of the data center, we're able to move those to Power VS. On the modernize, the third one over, we have customers that are looking at taking and creating front ends for their applications and deploying those in the public cloud. And because of that low latency, we have customers that put maybe x86 based front ends, and they put those up there, and then they want to put the database servers over in Power VS to create a low latency environment. We also have customers that do that between AWS or Azure and Power Virtual Server, with the database residing in one location. And we typically can get fairly low latency between those data centers and Power VS, although not as rapid as within our IBM Cloud Classic and Power VS. That's since they're co-located, that performance is exceptional. And then over on the far right, the operational excellence cost optimization really deals with customers that are looking to move into more of an OpEx pricing model. Down below, you can see some links. Those are references. Those are actually links here. If I put my cursor on it, hopefully you can see that. That's hot links to stories that are that support the business case above. So if you have a customer that's interested, you can point them at these use cases, and they can read through. Then, of course, if you need more information on this, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to work with you on this. Okay. So let's take a second and say, okay, this is great, super, it's wonderful. You have a Power Cloud. What's in it for me? And let me talk a minute about an incentive we have that we just announced back in the middle of February and runs through this year. And this is a incentive that gets paid to the partner seller. This is for partners. And there's two ways to earn. And if you look, there's kind of a blue box or kind of medium blue box on the left, and then there's kind of a lighter blue box, kind of a little bit on the right. And then you have in the green column over there the rewards that it's paid to the partner seller or the partner seller and tech seller. Let me talk about the hybrid cloud rewards on the left. So what this is saying is if you have a power on-prem transaction of between $100,000 and $200,000, and you have a Power VS annual contract of $25,000 or more, you will qualify for a $5,000 reward card. This is so really selling that hybrid cloud solution will, in this case, give you a $5,000. So you can see on the $500,000 transaction and his 70K Power VS contract, you'll get a $20,000. And that's us sending you a MasterCard gift card, in this case with $20,000 on it for you to spend any way you like. And we can, like I said, we can split that between two people, a seller and a tech seller, if that makes sense. The other way to use this is the Power VS Move reward. And so if you have a customer that is moving workload or just putting workload up on Power VS, and they're spending between $100,000 and $200,000 in an annual contract, we're going to give you a $5,000 MasterCard gift card. And in this case, you have a customer that buys a $500,000 contract, annual contract on Power VS. We're going to give you a $20,000 gift card. That runs between now and the end of the year. There is some product eligibility and qualification criteria down on the bottom. I put the link to that incentive so you can go out there and look at that on Seismic. One thing I would say on the hybrid cloud, I understand that you need to have those both the Power on-prem transaction and the Power VS transaction, I believe within 30 days of each other. Since this is a hybrid cloud solution, we want to make sure that the customer is really perceiving this as a kind of a joint purchase, that they're really building out a hybrid cloud technology, which is why we ask for that. And those are explained in the link below. So that's a great incentive, and hopefully will help you, kind of motivate you to go out there and talk to customers about this and try to sell the Power Virtual Server solution. So let's look at a way that you can possibly do this. So we have an offering we came out with last fall, which is backup in the cloud. It's with our partner Falcon Store. This really is a virtual tape library. It's really targeted for IBM customers, though it is can be used by AIX customers as well. What this does, and I'll explain it in the context of an IBM customer, although I said it will work with AIX. If you have a customer that is taking and backing up the tape still, what this Falcon Store Virtual Tape Library, VTL, solution would do was it would intercept that writing to the tape and write that to a disk space, a storage space. And then what this offering would be is that you can take that backup that is now a virtual, instead of being on a real tape, it's on a virtual tape, and you can push that backup up to the cloud. And there is all the technology is set up to do that. And we have a lot of customers that want to get their backups off-prem. They want to get them maybe in a secondary or a tertiary location for protection reasons. And so this is a great way to do this. This is a prepackaged environment that you can set up. There's some great benefits of this. The Falcon Store product does a dedupe on IBM and it typically gets about a 20-to-1 dedupe ratio, though I've seen stuff go much higher than that. So what that says in that little table down there is if you have a customer that has a current backup size of 100 terabytes, they can put it in a virtual tape library repository with 5 terabytes. And so what this can do is dramatically reduce the backup costs for the storage costs for doing backup. The other thing is that Because this is writing to storage and not tape devices, it's much faster. And so if your customer's having challenges with a backup window and starting to run out of time, this can really increase the backup performance up to, it says 50% or more. And then the kind of the third benefit of this is that if your customer is interested in this and you're selling an on-prem system, certainly this could be something you could add to that on-prem system, and then you'd qualify for that hybrid cloud bonus. And I'll show you some sample proposals that are put together that you can include in your with your IBM I or AIX proposal that you're sending to a customer. The other thing I want to mention is down in the bottom left, you can see the sizing calculator down there, and there's a password, which is IBM 2023, and that will get you in. You can fool around with the sizing calculator if the sample proposals we have, which I'm going to show you in a second, aren't exactly what you need. Okay, so let's look at those sample proposals. Now, these are pre-built proposals that provide a quote to your customer for Falcon Store software. And this would include both the pieces that they need to run on-premise that would collect the data, as well as the pieces that would run up in the cloud in Power Virtual Server. If you look off on the right-hand side, you see that there's 4 pages there, and you can see a cover page, and then you can see an executive summary kind of behind that. There's an architectural layout, and then there's a page with a kind of a red border around it. And we have 4 different sizes of that red page. That red page really is the price quote. And so the one that's on there right now is 5 terabytes, if you can see that. But we also have that in 10 terabyte, 30 terabyte, and 100 terabyte sizes. Since we get that 20-to-1 compression ratio, the proposal for, let's say, for the 100 terabytes would actually support a backup space up to about 20 times that, which would be about 2 petabytes of backup space. So the proposals come in all those different sizes, and they're just pre-built so you can send them more easily out to your customer. Let's take a look at the proposal page in just a little bit more detail. If we look, this is the 5 terabyte page, and if you look, you can see that up on top it says, the first circle says 5 terabytes, and underneath it, it says that it can support approximately 100 terabytes of data that the customer would have in their backup space. Now, in the table below, you can see all the costs that would be laid out to implement this. And you see down the first column, the first priced column would be the monthly cost on that. And then on the second column, you'd see the one-time charge. And so the monthly cost is the cost of both the software on-prem as well as the Power VS costs. And then this one-time cost is this setup cost that would Falcon Store would charge for their professional services teams to come in and set up this software. Now, they're absolutely delighted if that's something you want to do and you have a services organization that'd like to be able to set this up, and they'll work with you to make sure you have the skills and the backing you need to be successful at this. So if you want that services contract, that is fine by them. And if you have questions on this, if these pre-built sizes aren't the right size for your customer, you need something perhaps in the middle between these two, you can go through the sizing calculator, or you can call Falcon Store, and they are delighted to work with you. They are fabulous to work with, and they'll partner up with you and make sure you're successful in this. And so, like I said originally, this is a wonderful way for you to take it and take that on-prem environment that you're selling to your customer, and then add this backup in the cloud to it and get that hybrid cloud bonus. So this is a great way to do this, and this is a wonderful thing for a customer too, because a lot of them are looking at, how do I move my backup off-prem? How can I put it up in the cloud where it's safe and I get some air gap separation on that? Now let's say your customer now is interested in this, and they want to look at either this Falcon Store, or they want to look at Power VS in more detail. Let's look at some of the programs we have that to help you show your customer Power Virtual Server. So if we look at on this page, what I want to draw your attention to is in the middle, the proof of concept. And there are 3 different sizes here, a 30 proof, 50 proof, and 70 proof on this. That actually has nothing to do with alcohol, but everything to do with proof of concept. And if you look across, you can see the 30 proof is actually provides $20,000 in cloud credits, as well as $10,000, about 40 hours in lab services funding. And so the lab services team would be delighted to come in and work with you and your customer to help show them Power Virtual Server and get a workload running in Power VS so that your customer can experience how it works. Also we've announced a 100 proof program that if you have even deals that are larger than this. We're very flexible on this and really want to partner with you to make sure your customer can see the power of Power Virtual Server. You also notice on the bottom the build fund, and that really is to help your customer migrate from their workload from on-prem to Power Virtual Server. And so if they have a workload that they want to move up there, the proof of concept maybe is a start. Maybe you do a pilot to production where you show them how it works. You get kind of the first step of the workload, maybe an LPAR or 2 moved up to Power VS, and maybe they have a few more LPARs they want to do. And the customer is going to ask you to do services, or we're going to have lab services or expert labs in there doing the services. We have funding to help defray some of that costs of moving that customer up to Power Virtual Server. So if you need help with that, please reach out to me or your team at Ingram Micro. We'd be happy to take it and work on how we can show you how to do that. Let's talk about the Power VS Sandbox. So you look at this maybe and say, Power VS is cool. But I need to know a little bit more about this before I go running out and talk to my customer. I want my technical team, or I want myself to be able to fool around with it, set it up, maybe move some workload around, see how this works. And when I do that, I'm much more comfortable talking to a customer. We totally get that. Having hands-on experience, certainly makes you much more credible when you talk to your customer. And that's what really this sandbox program is about. And what we do is we'll leverage the POC program. So if you have a customer that you think is a good suspect for Power VS, but you want to get some hands-on experience before you go talk to them, come to us, and what we'll do is set up a proof of concept for that customer and get you set up on our Power Virtual Server so you can go in and get hands-on experience working on this. And then if you need to continue that POC with your customer, we're more than willing to help find the funding to help you do that as well. This is the whole, intent of this is to make sure that you get the experience, the hands-on credibility you need to be able to take it and credibly explain Power Virtual Server to your customer. And to help you go down that path a little bit more, we have some enablement that we offer. We have a Power Virtual Server technology deep dive, and we've offered this everything from webinars that we've done with partners all the way to in-person, face-to-face 2-day workshops. And I'm showing kind of the 2-day workshop version here, and the topics down the left side, and then the kind of the middle arrows here really talk through some of the exercises we work on together. And the whole intent of this is really to be able, for you to be able to size, design, and price a Power Virtual Server environment. It's pretty easy doing the compute and store on this. The software isn't altogether that difficult. We have licensing that's included in our Power Virtual Server environments. When you get into networking, there's a lot of questions around networking, and so we talk through how you do networking and how you size and price that. We get into HA and DR. We talk about that in a little more detail too, to give you all the details, so when you get in front of your customer, you can really design, size, price a total Power Virtual Server environment for them and feel confident you're doing that right. But also feel good that as you go through this, we're certainly right there with you. So if you want to go do that with your customer, but you'd like us on the call with you, we'd be delighted to do that and work with you on that opportunity as well. So let me know if you'd like to explore this or talk to the folks at Ingram Micro. They'll be happy to get this oriented for you. Okay. We also have badges and courses in the IBM education around Power Virtual Server. And I think a lot of you know about these. These are links to go up and take these courses. And by taking the courses on top, you can earn the badges down below. And there's links for both the IBMers and the business partners on these. These are exactly the same courses our sales teams take. They have a good background on this, and this could be a good starting point before you get into doing that hands-on sandbox environment. And then to wrap up, really, here is a list of different contact people and information on Power Virtual Server, and everything from our sales kits to demos to just deeper information on this. And so I invite you to take a look at some of this and get a little bit more detail on this. Going down the right-hand side is contacts. You can see me on the second one down, Charlie Goodman. Please reach out to me if you have questions on this. Happy to work with you to make sure you get everything you need to be successful with Power Virtual Server and your customer. And if there's anything we can do around Power Hybrid Cloud, including the on-prem cloud technology, please let us know. We'd be delighted to work with you on that. So with that, I say thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time to go through this presentation.